Okay, so you don't get a face-to-face beginning because it is late at night and I am totally in my pajamas. But I wanted to show you before I got started working that I am working on my 4 heavenly beasts. I should probably mention that this video that you're watching, if you've not watched my videos before, is going to be kind of a vlog-style recap of the stitching I got done in the current month, which is May. Man, that took longer than it should. Like I said, it's a little bit late at night. Anyway, this is going to be a recap of the stitching I did in May. I'm getting started right now on my 4 Heavenly Beasts. Artwork is by Kayomi Harai. It's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm doing it 2/1 on 18 count aida, and I will insert a picture of what it'll look like finished, as well as the page that I'm currently working on, which, as you can see, is this little bit up here. I've just gotten started. I didn't actually even fill in this square, so I'm going to carry on with that. I mentioned in my last video that I hadn't had very much stitching done in the past couple of months, and I was kind of thinking that it might be the fact that I was letting myself work on things as long as I wanted to. So I went ahead and just set up a schedule, and I've only got another today, tomorrow, and the next day to work on this piece, so I didn't get started because I set myself up to have like a week to work on it, and I didn't work on it for the first 4 days. So the good news is, with that schedule, I'm actually getting to work on it, so I probably wouldn't be if that were not the case. So anyway, I'm gonna go not ramble any longer, work on it, and show you what I get done. Alright, so here's where I ended at. I only ended up working on it for 2 days. I was doing other things on Sunday and didn't get to it, but I did this and these 2 squares and a little bit of here, so I ended up doing, I think, around 350 stitches. I didn't actually count it, but I'm pretty pleased with that because I usually average closer to 100 a day. I just tend to be a slow stitcher, and I need to get a better setup where I can sit more comfortably so that way I can stitch for a longer period of time, but that's not terribly important. The upshot is, I did more than my average given the amount of time I had to work on it, so I am quite pleased with that progress, and I'm actually pretty sure that this is the beginning of Snake's tail. Like, I think his tail starts right here, and so that should be fun to do and to see more of the tail coming in. Beyond that, it's just been background, so it was a little boring, but quite pleased with that progress, and let me switch the camera around and show you what I'm going to work on next. Alright, so for my next project this month, I have decided to get my 12 Days of Christmas back out. This was, well, here, let me put something so it's not quite so see-through. This was a, stitch-along sampler a couple years back. I don't remember the exact year it was. It's by Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Samplers. I believe it's still available for free on her blog, so I will link that down below if it is. But it's just it's a 12 Days of Christmas sampler. I've always really liked that carol. I know a lot of people don't like it. I'm not a huge Christmas person, but I do really like it. I don't know. Anyway, I just decided to do it. I am doing it differently from how it's charted. Originally, it's supposed to be on white fabric with primarily red and green with a little bit of black and gold. I'm obviously doing this on like a burgundy color with some green, and then black and gold is my only colors. It's a random piece of 28 count linen that I found at like a used craft store. So I don't know anything about who it's from or what the color is called or anything. I've measured it and it's 28 count, and it's barely big enough. It's got like a border of this big, so I'm just going to do that, and I have some plans for how I'm going to finish it to account for that small border. But I am working on it. I would really like to, well, I'm going to be working on it. I would really like to get it done by December of this year. I'm currently on the 8th day, and I've got 2 ladies are done except for their buckets, 2 of the milkmaids, and so I need to do the other 6, the buckets, and then there's a cow. And one of the milkmaids is small and standing on the cow's back, so that'll be a little bit faster. So anyway, I always look at this and think that because it's a small, like it's quite small, I'm always like, oh, it'll be so fast to do, but it's like, I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count, so it's tiny stitches. Focus, please. you can see if you compare the size of this little stitches to the size of my fingernail, it's tiny. So got to do this with good daylight. So anyway, that is what I'm going to be working on. I am hopeful that this week I might be able to get the 8th day done, although, like I said, I always overestimate how much I can get done on this. Alright, so quick late night post rainy walk update. I did not finish day 8, but I did quite well, so I'm hoping that I will get that finished the next time I work on this piece. Let me just stick it back in its bag. Alright, and so now I'm switching to working on my cliffhanger. It's a absolutely massive Heaven and Earth Designs. It's not the supersized version of this, it's just a massive pattern. And I'm working on page 2 over here. The artwork is by Aimee Stewart. I don't have the picture within reach, so I'll just pop in a picture showing you what the whole thing is going to look like. But I'm currently working on this top corner of the bookshelf. I am doing this piece 2/1 continental tent stitch on a 28 count bone lugana. I believe it's a Zweigart lugana. It's just a standard lugana. Color is just bone. It's a little bit of off-white. So I'm working on that. It's a lot of solid black to get in, and I am going to go and do that before it gets any later. Okay, so I only ended up working on this for a couple of days, but I made pretty decent progress for only a couple of days. I put in this entire diagonal of 10 by 10 squares, and in doing that, I just ran the calculations, and I have completed just over 1% of the pattern, which is mildly horrifying when you realize that each page of the pattern is less than 1%. Yeah, I should have checked the page count before I bought it and bought the mini instead, but that's okay. I'm happy with it. I like the way it's coming out, and I'm having fun stitching it. I did actually end up adding 3 new colors into that, which brings me up to 1/3 of all the colors in the entire piece used in just this tiny section, which is pretty cool, and I like adding the new colors. I don't know, there's not a ton exciting to say about that. So I made that progress, it's been fun, and now I'm going to put it away and grab out another piece to work on. Okay, so the next piece that I'm going to work on is my flower of the month, specifically this one. This is the September Aster. I'm doing them out of order because I want to put them where I want on my piece of fabric. This is a free pattern by Maurer-Stroh, and I will include a link in the description box below to where to get it. I believe it's still available on her website. It was like a stitch along from 2010 or something, so a little bit older, but I really like the way it's looking. I am doing mine using the called for DMCs, and I'm doing it 3/2 on a 28 count Monaco, I believe, which I hand dyed myself using RIT dyes. And my eventual plan is to finish each of these individually and then have a spot, either a spot for them to stand up or a spot for them to hang on the wall, where I'll switch each month out. So I'm putting the month up here and the name of the flower down here. I haven't gotten to that on this one, obviously. And I'm doing that for all the flowers, so that way I can remember which flower goes up in which month. Kind of important. Well, technically not that important, but for the way I want to display it, it's kind of important. So I've added those using just a random, I think I like Googled small cross stitch font or something and I found it, or something similar that I then adapted. So anyway, this is where I'm up to. I would love to get that border finished. Those borders, it's basically like a 2-stitch wide solid border, and I always look at it and think, oh yeah, I'll get that done, just be a couple strands. No, it takes a ton of thread and it takes forever. It's driving me a little bit no, not really, but it's a little bit annoying, so I'm hoping to get that done. I usually do a strand of the green and then a strand in the flower and then a strand of the green and a strand in the flower to mix things up. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say was I did make one modification from the original pattern. She has you do the outlines in like kind of a neutral brown color, but because I'm not planning on displaying all the flowers together, I chose to do all of my outlines in the darkest foliage color of each flower, which has worked out fairly well, except for on this one where the leaves kind of blend in with the border, and so on that one it would have been better, for example, to do it in the darkest of the flower colors, perhaps. Although then this would have blended in. I don't know. From what I looked at on the pattern, this is the only one where that's going to affect it, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to carry on with my plans. So I also have another one that's hidden back here that I'm done with. So I'm working on my third one. And yeah, I'm going to be working on this over the end of when this video is and when the next video starts. So assuming that I make progress on it both in the next couple of days until the video ends, and then the next couple of days after the video starts up, I will show it to you twice. Alright, so I actually delayed filming this just a tiny bit. I had said kind of when I was introducing this project that I was probably going to work on it a little bit in this video and a little bit in next month's video, and I decided to go ahead and just wait to film until I'd finished with my scheduled time with it, just so that way you could see more progress in one go. And I am pretty pleased with the progress I did. I finished the border, which always takes forever, but I focused really hard on it and got it done. And I also added one full strand, since I'm doing this 3/2, that's taking a 6-strand piece of embroidery, floss, splitting it in 2 and putting in both of those. So I put in one full strand of this darkest purple, which kind of fills out these petals up here. And of course I put in the aster text. And yeah, I'm pretty pleased with my progress on that. We will see what how I do with it next time, now that I don't have the border to focus on and I can focus just on the flower. But for right now, I'm going to put this away, and then in the next video, you'll see what I'm getting out to work on next. Alright, so that's the end of my stitching progress for, let's see, it was the May progress that I'm going to be putting up in the June video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and thanks for taking the time to do it. I guess if you didn't enjoy it, you probably didn't stay and watch, so you're not hearing this. So anyway, for those of you who did enjoy it and are still here, thanks for watching. I hope to see you next month. Let me know if you have any questions or comments by leaving a comment down below. And yeah, that's what I got for this month. We'll be back next month. Bye.